Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be each and every Sunday night, where we are here for round three of Sunday Night Lights. I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me for the first time tonight is young Mr. Corey Steinhauser. Corey, welcome to the Top Split TV commentary booth.
Thank you very much, Alex. It's an absolute pleasure to be here calling this race with you, mate.
Yeah, well, it's the first time for us. Of course, you're no stranger to calling races in the real world and online, but certainly first time for us as a dynamic duo. I apologise, folks. Latency appears to be a bit of an issue for us here tonight. Hopefully, that'll tidy up as the stream goes on. But we are live and exclusive here, of course, on Top Split TV here at Imola for round three, where the big guns have come out to play. We do have a strength of field for those of you playing at home for 3,529, which is the strongest so far this week, which of course is what we're going for, Corey.
Yeah, that's right. And it's good to see that we're starting to get some really good strength of fields in for these strength of field races that we do. The more points we can get on offer for the drivers, the better off the category will be as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see some familiar faces out there. Of course, Timmy Gorcrotcher, normally in the commentary booth for Top Split TV, but he's out there for Top Split Racing Team here tonight. And car plate number 1, number 2 was Fem Antoniadis, of course, for Thrustmaster Vivano Racing. He's a crowd favourite, obviously done very well in this series before and looking to do so again. Sebastian Schultz is our third rated driver, who, of course, after his efforts in Sunday Night Lights this season, last week was on top of the pops for the official series as well. So plenty to play for here tonight for those guys there, Corey.
Yeah, indeed. And Imola is quite a difficult little track. Both you and I have done some racing here this week with some mixed results. The time model has definitely been playing a bit of havoc, but it's good to see people are still getting out there and giving it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of getting out there and giving it a go, the other Mivano driver here tonight is Mr. Enzo Cantor, who has come out for his home track. He was a bit dubious as to whether he'd make it. I think he had a bit of a pep talk from young Brian Sheridan during the week, and that's got him back out. Of course, great supporter of the series. Great to see him back out there. Currently sitting in P6, but I tell you who's pipped him at the moment is this young up-and-comer, Sean Teal, who's he's only been in the skip for a couple of weeks, but he's managed to get his I rating to the point where he's snuck in as car number 19 of 20. He's made it into the top split here tonight, and he's going all right. He's in P7 after his opening lap provisionally there, Corey.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how Sean goes throughout this race. I've seen his name pop up in the practice sheets, and I'm thinking this could be a guy that we could be looking out for in the near future, especially if he keeps going on the up and up the way that he is.
Yeah, that's it, 100%. Whoop, Corey, I thought I muted myself there. I've still got a bit of that cough, so I pulled myself on mute there for a second, but no, it seems to have come good. Good to see Luke Witten out there representing Team Milo, of course, this season. Car number 15 snuck into the split, going through the final chicane there at Variante Alta, going there quite nicely on the second of his 2 flying laps, of course, here provisionally in P5 at the moment, Corey, but a few other names a bit further down the order. We're talking about Tim Gorkrotch, number 1 plated car, and he already cranked on some of the curbs there, judging by the front nose cone. He's all the way down in P16 as he rounds the final corner now on the second of his flying laps. We need to see what he can pull out here, as I'm still struggling with that latency, guys. Apologies if the stream's a bit choppy. Hopefully that'll improve, as I say, during the stream. Now, Tim Gorkrotcher has jumped up to P2 behind the returning Sammy J. Toy Carla there, who's sitting there. I've got to tell you, 203.869 on pole is going to be very tough to beat by Sammy J there, Corey.
Yeah, indeed. And, as the race will go on and the tyres warm up, as these times are probably going to collapse quite a bit during the race. We saw some 202s in the practice races leading up to this event. It'll be interesting to see who and how many drivers can manage to get into that particular time split.
Yeah, absolutely. He's 2038 is going to be very tough to beat as Sammy comes around now. Torkala coming around for his second flying lap. Tell you what, if he can beat a 2038, it will be quite. Oh, he does a bit of a celebratory chuck it into the wall. Gorkroch are just the 1/10 behind. Cantor now, he's pulled out a great effort in his second lap, the Mivano racer, just 6/10 off with the previously mentioned Sebastian Schultz jumping up there to provisionally sit in P6. Anthony Catt's been having a strong performance this week as quali runs out. I think our provisional positions have now just become official. So I am just going to quickly get through the grid to see if I can't actually do that before the race starts. Big field of 20 this week, folks, coming to you from Imola, of course, for round 3 of Sunday Night Lights. Sammy J. Toykala with a 2:03.8, fantastic time to round out his qualification. Tim Gorkrocher leading the ANZ chart for top split racing team with a 2:04 dead, 1/10, 1.5 tenths behind Enzo Cantor. Home track for the Thrustmaster Mivano racing driver here, 6/10 behind in P3. Timo Vaskalampi from Finland, he's 0.6 behind also in P4. P5 for Hemanton Yardas, the other Mivano racer, points just under 0.7, but sitting in the 0.6s still behind Toykala in P5. P6, Sebastian Schultz, our series leader. P7, Luke Witten, fantastic drive there from the Team Milo driver. P8 tonight, Ben Snell, the other Team Milo driver in the top split, I think is the only other one. Oh no, there might be another one. We'll see. 1.4 behind. John Scholz for Team Venom, another ANZ driver in the top 10. Håkon Grebstad currently sitting right up high in the standings overall, down in P10 for qualification. Alberto P. De La Fuente, 1.5 seconds behind in P11. P12, Gustavo Conde from Iberia. Next screen, Ballart from Iberia. Also, Anthony Catt in P14. Russell Clark, the final Team Milo driver in P15. James Beardsley from the US in 16. Sean Teal, we mentioned before, in P17. Zach Baker, ANZ driver, in P18. Samuel Collins, also in from ANZ in P19. Sean Caron from 73 Racing in P20. Strength of field, 35.29 as we said. Track temp, most importantly, 28 degrees, as we actually managed to get it done before the lights went down. We might be having internet latency issues, and yes, I have dropped the bit rate for those asking at home. As the revs start to rise, the red light is on, and we are away here for the first of 12 laps tonight as this 20-car field races down towards turn 1 and 2 here at the first chicane of Tamburello. Corey.
And we can see that the action coming into the first chicane here is absolutely frenetic, but it looks like Sammy J has come out with the lead so far. I can't quite tell, but I think that is Tim right on his tail at the moment. And things are going to be getting a little bit interesting here as we start getting through some of these slower sections.
Yeah, absolutely. We are up near the front here. Toykala now leading out from Gorkrocher. Gorkrocher tucked in behind Toykala through Tosa now for the first time. Long string of cars behind them, all running out using all the extremities there. It was just, I think it was Vaskalampi there, almost got the rear tyre onto the grass there. You can use all the green there as long as it's the AstroTurf and not the actual grass there, because hit the grass there, the rear of the car will step out as they go 2 by 2 now through Piratella for the first time on the way down this tricky section now through Aqua Minerale, Corey.
I'm looking back in the pack here a little bit. We got a bit of a battle going on from about 5th on back, as we see the 4 car of Enzo Cantor has gotten a little bit wrong in this section here. He's just gone around on the second apex there.
Yeah, he's lost it there. That's a section we saw him lose it in the earlier race tonight. It has separated the field a little bit. Oh, I think there's another one in the wall behind. Was it Grebstad? Grebstad's around. Antoniadis is also dropping like a stone. That first chicane has given them all sorts of trouble there, Corey.
Yeah, and that's the problem with having cold tyres at the early stage of the race. People getting a little bit aggressive on the curbs, and you know, things have just gone a little bit bad for these guys. Hopefully they can come back with a strong recovery later on in the race, though.
Yeah, just saw Antoniadis had trouble through that first chicane, and Hawk on Grebstad just ran in the rear of them both and went round. Unfortunately, that's a tragic end to their competitive nights as we jump back up the front now as these guys are getting amongst it. Now, there's 2 by 2 they go as we see Toykala now out in the lead by about a quarter of a second from Gorkrotcher there with Vascalampi and Schultz. These guys are really looking to run away with this race. Front two, followed by a second pairing there with young Ben Snell, who, of course, had a breakout season last season, sitting there in no man's land in P5, looking to get it done if he can tonight, Corey.
I'm just having a quick little look back here at the young gun that we were looking at, Sean Thiel earlier. He's made his way up into 13th after starting from 17th. Good solid start for the young fella, and it's good to see that he is making the moves and getting it done as he needs to as he catches onto the back of this battle pack. It looks like it's being headed up by Luke Whitten.
Yeah, certainly has done a good job so far. He's up 4 positions. A couple of guys visited the pits already, 3 in fact, in Baker, Antoniadis and Collins have helped him out a little bit, but certainly in amongst it, in amongst his first Sunday Night Lights race. Just snuck in a car number 19, but certainly making the most of it. A couple of Team Milo guys in front there with Whitten and Clark sitting in P8 and 9 respectively, leading the Team Milo charge here tonight. But jumping back up to the front, we still have the 4 guys trying to run away with it there. You've got Gorkrotcher now, who's taken over from Toykala at some stage on that lap. Vascalampi and Schultz behind, and Snell sitting 1.5 seconds behind in P5 there. He'll be looking to bridge that gap, as will John Scholtz for Team Venom. He's made it known that he's just lost it. I was just about to give him a rap. And he's turned it around through the final section at Rivarza, turn 14. Oh, there's cars dodging and weaving everywhere to get around him, Corey. Looks like everyone got through unscathed.
And I'm glad to see everyone got through unscathed. It's unfortunate for John there. He was looking pretty strong, but I'm a little bit worried now about young Benny because he's in a little bit of no man's land there all by himself.
Yeah, he is. He is now 1.9 seconds, in fact, so he dropped about 4/10 on that straight. But what'll happen is the guys in draft will leapfrog if they're working smart, which I'd suggest the 4 guys up front will do. The guys up front being Toykala, Gorkrotcher, Vascalampi and Schultz. They will work smart. They're all going to race together, leapfrog, take advantage of the draft where you can, and you can build that sort of gap. Now Snell out to 2.1 seconds behind the top 4, who themselves are divided into pairs. Dropping behind Snell, then you've got just in front of Whitten, you've got Ballard, who's got Whitten and Conde behind them, behind him I should say, with a long train of cars strung out behind them. So you've got all the way from 8th down to, oh my goodness, where are we going to go before we run out of cars here? P16 Fuente there is on the back of this, car 16 and P14. So you've got 5th stretching down to 15th before you you break that string of cars there, Corey.
Yeah, and it is an absolutely incredible sight to behold. Just seeing all these skippies lined up, nose to stern, just like this, and it doesn't look like anyone is making a mistake. Not that you would want to, especially if you're one of the guys up at the pointy end of this pack, because if you just make one wrong step, it could mean absolutely disaster for all of these guys.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And once again, I apologise for the bit rate here tonight. Folks at home, we're having some connectivity issues that the internet's striking out at us as it does from time to time. Just noticed Scott's in the pits. He has either packed up stumps or he's just in the pits. He might have called it a night. I was about to say he's made it known he's after the Division 2 championship this season, and he's leading it coming in tonight with some really good points. But he will not add to those again tonight, unfortunately, after that incident. So up front now, we've got Gorkrotcher leading the way ahead of Toykala. They've really cleared out now. They've got a 2-second gap over Vascalampi and Schultz. Schultz, of course, looking to capitalise on the points here on offer once again tonight, being the biggest so far this week and likely to remain that way. Very popular track in terms of numbers, but we haven't necessarily seen the high strength of fields that we have in previous weeks. A few people struggling to adjust to the new Skippy, Corey.
Yeah, but I hear that there is going to be a hot patch coming out soon to maybe change the physics very slightly with these tires, make them a little bit more the way that they used to be in terms of being a little bit more slidey. And just to quickly touch on John Skoltz, I do believe he has called it a night there, Alex.
Yeah, I believe he has too. I've just caught Luke Whitten spinning in the background coming into turn 7 at Tosa. He's gone through the very tricky Villeneuve chicane prior to that, and he's got the rear onto the gravel and managed to contain it very well. But up the inside he went. The rear let go. Did not control that very well at all, unfortunately. And then he's chosen to ride it and have a bit of an excursion out the back while he tries to get back on track. And that, unfortunately, I was looking for that big battle pack there to follow for a while, but that's brought that undone. Jumping back up to the front now, we've got Toykala and Gorkrocher looking to run away with this one once again. A lot of points, a lot of I rating on offer for these two, and they are racing very smart indeed. A lot of race IQ out there tonight, Corey.
Yeah, and it's good to see people are really using their heads because I'm not usually driving with such experienced drivers as we can see Goldcrotcher there having a little look to the inside but not quite going for it. Um, it's good to see people just driving smart, taking their time and thinking about what moves they're going to make, where and when, rather than people just diving it up the inside just to try and prove a point.
Yeah, that's what we're after here. We're saying before the stream started tonight, we're looking for quality over quantity, but and that's what we're seeing up front here tonight, certainly with Toykala and Gorkrocher leading the way. So too in Schultz and Vascalampi. Vascalampi now pulling out of the draft as they run up the hill towards Piratella on the mid stages now of lap 5 of 12 here tonight. Just over a 2-minute lap for the quicker guys here tonight. We were saying before the 203s have already come out tonight. Gorkrocher with the fastest lap currently with a 203.9. But we know that both Toykala and Gorkrocher are capable of the magical, the mystical, the mythical almost 202 second lap around here. Getting the high 202s is very, very difficult and the hallmark of a high quality driver. Both of them I've seen done this week, and if they can pull it out here tonight, we'll be the better for it. Jumping a bit further back, we've still got this very racy pack here of cars, led now by, it looks like Anthony Catt ahead of Gustavo Conde. Tucked in behind now, the recovery drive of Enzo Cantor is well underway here in P9 tonight. We know he's been wrestling with the Skippy since the changes have been made this season, but he did come out to support the series and at his local track as he gets the move done there on Conde into the final complex there at Rivazza. Turns 14 and 15 combined. Lovely flowing part of the circuit there when you get it right, and of course leading onto the longest straight and therefore the most important corners on the track there, Corey.
Yeah, exactly. And with the skippies, it's all about maximizing what speed you can get, where you can get it. You want to make sure you nail those exits absolutely perfect, especially for these long straights. And if you can stick right up behind someone and get that draft, you're going to be the better off for it, especially with some of these harder braking zones, like into that small chicane over on the back, and even heading into that final complex of corners.
Yeah, absolutely. Jumping back up the front now, we've got still this battle of Toykala and Gorkrocher. They're just sedately going around at 203 pace, which is sedately. Anyway, we've got Vascalampi and Schultz still sitting there in P3 and 4 respectively. Top 5, of course, rounded out by Team Milo's own Ben Snell. If we look at Ballard now, he's 6 seconds behind Snell, who in turn was 3.5 seconds behind Vascalampi. Cantor now right up the inside. He's getting it done there through Piratella. Cantor on a charge. Leaves the door open for the 10 car there of Anthony Catt. 2x2 down through one of the most challenging sections on the course here at Aqua Minerale. They get it done through 9 and 10. side by side, and it was Ballard holding off Cat, but they're going to go side by side again through Variante Alta, braking at about the 50 marker now. They've sorted it out. Single file through there. Of course, 2x2 does not work through that final chicane there, Corey, and the guys putting on a great show so far here tonight.
Oh, absolutely, Alex. And this is some incredible action that we're getting here. My heart did skip a beat a little bit when they were going side by side through that first section. When they got to that little chicane there on back, it definitely made my heart stop for about a complete second.
Oh, he's into the rear there.
Oh,
he's around the 10
and that's
car.
the 6 of Gustavo Conda out, spun into the gravel trap there. Oh, that's not going to be very good for his race here.
No, they were just going through the final section, turn 15 at Ravazza, and he's made a move up the inside. Then the 10 car, which I think is Anthony Catt. Oh, it's hard to say. There was contact to the rear of Condi's car, forced Catt wide, of course. Those two have come together nose to tail, which never ends well in a skippy, I can tell you. And Snookadoo has lost it there. Conde, he's looks to be out for the competitive stakes in this race. Anyway, as we jump back up front now, we can see that, well, it's pretty much status quo there with Gorkrocha and Toykala out in front. Bascalampi and Schultz biding their time now to the final stages of the race as we are in the second half now, with Snell sitting in P5 some 4 seconds back, 4 seconds drift, as the guys now starting to get into the mid 203s. Gorkrocha setting the fastest lap, 203.6 last lap. Cantor now, after all that battling behind him, he has, I wouldn't say he had the elbows out, but he raced hard and smart at the same time. He's managed to clear out now. He is just shy of 6 seconds behind Ben Snell in P5. I would suggest he would struggle to get that back as we see the 17 car, James Beardsley, beg your pardon, it's Ballard. He lost the rear of the car through Aqua Minerale after going 2x2 the lap before. He seemed to lose it on his own that time through, Corey.
Yeah, and that's just pushing a little bit too hard. I'm not quite sure whether he might have maybe put a wheel just in the wrong spot, but unfortunately, we saw the end result there. And now I'm looking at a battle here, and we got Sean Teal in front of Anthony Catt, and that was for the 9th position. A tight little battle pack here again. These guys definitely wanted to resume hostilities, but that's Sean up into the top 10, Alex.
Yeah, great drive from Sean. He's up from Teal. He's up 9 positions, as is James Beardsley in front of him. But I might hop on board with Grebstad if I can. Might want to grab the better shot there. Left, right, front. There we go. No, that doesn't really help me either. I'll tell you what, I've missed most of that, but Grebstad's made the move through, and he's got it done there through the first chicane, Corey.
Yeah, Alex, they were just about 3 wide as they were heading into the braking zone there. And poor old Sean was stuck on the outside, and as you can see, he has been swallowed up by absolutely everyone. Anthony Grebstad and Mr. Clark there have all gone around him, and now it looks like he's starting to fall into the clutches of Ballard a little bit here as well.
Yeah, it does look to be the case there. Ballard, of course, had that really big battle with Conde and Cantor the lap before. Lost it through Aqua Minerale, through 9 and 10. This very challenging section that post Piratella here, once they've been through, they head down there. I'll tell you what, if you get this next section right, you feel like an absolute champion. If you stuff it up, you feel like a bit of a jump at the same time. But it is, having said that, a very, very challenging gear. Grab second gear, give it a bootful as you hit, get the turn in right through the apex and then head up the hill again. Grebstad now on the front of this pack as they head through the final chicane out Variante Alta and getting it done on the tail end of lap 8, Corey.
Yes, indeed, and it looks like this pack is starting to catch up to, I think that is James Beardsley right in front of them. Things have started to string out behind them a little bit though, but they are definitely looking like they're starting to catch. Russell Clark has got a little space of his own in the middle of the 5 guys that were battling. It seems that they're starting to split off into a little bit of 2x2 with a a little, I guess, tennis net, as you could say, of Russell Clark. As we go back to have a look at the leaders now, and status quo again, mate. Tim Grawkocher is just absolutely taking this and going with it. He's half a second in front of Sammy J at the moment, and they are just about into the 202s.
They're getting there, aren't they? The 203.1 last lap for Gawcrocher, who no doubt had the advantage of sitting in Toykala's draft for at least part of that race, that lap. But certainly he's now to about a 6.5 tenths gap. Not enough to break away from the draft heavy track that this is as they head through the final couple of corners now. Swing out very wide. Oh, I beg your pardon. I've got my part of the track wrong. We're heading on our way back down to that challenging section, Aqua Miller Alley. Grab a bit of the inside curb there. Grab a big bit here without grabbing the sausage curbs. Use every bit of the exit there. Toykala trying desperately to hang on to the back of Gawcrocher here as we check him out through this final chicane here at Variante Alta. 11 and 12 now. Grab a very large portion of the first curb. Second curb, not so much, because if you grab too much of that second curve, the rear of the car just jets itself off somewhere to another part of Italy there, Corey.
Yeah, indeed, and the exit of that little chicane there is also very difficult. If you go too wide, you can not only get an off track, but you can also run the risk of getting yourself a slowdown. Something that I've seen many people do, and it causes a lot of havoc, especially if you're in the middle of a bit of a battle.
Yeah, 100%. Cost me second spot on the dice earlier this week. I was battling with someone that we are missing here tonight, Oscar Chinchillamazo, although I saw him in chat. G'day, Oscar. We were battling it out, and I grabbed a big chunk of that exit area, and yeah, I got that infamous slowdown that you were talking about as we see Gawcrocher lead it there, and it did cost me second spot, which, you know, third spot's all right. Oh, as we see Gawcrocher make a mistake. Gawcrocher now, does that mean for the changing complexity of this race? Did he pick up a slowdown? I think he did. 1.3, has it settled about 1.3 seconds behind. I think with just the balance of 3 laps remaining, 2.5 laps to go, 1.3 seconds, that's a big gap now. As Sammy J picked up a 2:02.6 last lap, although he must have picked up an incident point because it didn't count as an official lap. But I'll tell you what, 2:02.6, that's flying, Corey.
Oh, that absolutely is, Alex. I couldn't manage to get anywhere near that in my wildest dreams, and seeing that, these guys are absolutely pushing the limit, and we can see that. This is how important these races are for these drivers. They are pushing the limit and then some, as we see Tim there grabbing a little bit of the middle sausage there, going through that section, coming up the hill. And the exit there is actually another real danger spot for a slowdown. You want to take all the exit you can, but you don't want to take too much there, Alex.
No, you're exactly right, although that seems to be working in his favour. He's grabbed up 2 tenths. He's now just the 1.1 behind. I'll tell you what, he's ducked under that. He's back well and truly in the draft now as they head down into Rivazza now. The part-time commentator, full-time alien here, Gawcrocher, really looking to strap onto the back of the other alien in the field here in Toykala. And he's 9 tenths of a second. He will not get the prime passing opportunity that is turn 1 here. Look at the distance there. That, my friends, is what 0.9 of a second looks like in a Skip Barber. And he is not going to be close enough. 0.8 now, just under 0.9. He's at 0.8, just under 0.8 now. You can see that he picked up nearly 3 tenths in draft there on the approach to the first chicane, but it was not enough to get him close enough to Sammy Toykala there to get the job done. Jumping back to piece 2 and, beg your pardon, 3 and 4. You got Sebastian Schultz tucked in behind Vascalampi there. Snell some 6 seconds behind, running his own race once again. Cantor, he has and another island there with Beardsley now on the front of Grebstad, and Cat with Clark some 1.8 seconds adrift of this pack of 3. The position's really starting to get themselves sorted out here. Grebstad has a look up the inside, or at least shows the nose. Make sure that Beardsley knows that he's interested, but does not make the move there. He might have a look up the inside here. No, he gets forced to the outside by Beardsley, forced to go the long way. Can get the better drive out of here if you do it right. However, up behind there, Cat looking to make it 3 wide up the hill as they head up towards Piratella now. Grebstad getting the better drive, but he's got the outside run here. Has he got the clear call? He has, but it is Cat up the inside. Grebstad getting the better drive. Once again, Cat compromising his own run, and it looks like Grebstad's got the best of all of that, as again they're going 2 by 2 here. Beardsley and Cat down through Aqua Minerale now. Not going to work there 2 by 2. They get it sorted though. That gives Grebstad his chance to get away as we jump back up the front now. The final 2 corners now. We have Toykala with Gorkrotch, who'll be kicking himself after that slowdown from the previous lap. It looks like we're going to get a Toykala Gorkrotcher finish to this race as we expected. The 12 car followed by the 1 car. Fantastic driving from those guys. Then we have Vascalampi and Schultz coming across after, well, it would have been a pretty quiet race. Speaking of quiet races, Ben Snell coming across the line now to grab P5. P6 Canter after a very interesting middle section of the race. Now, this is where all the action is, folks. This is who we got on the front here. We've got Beardsley on the front of Cat. Can I get, as they cross the line, he's held on there. Clark now ahead of, what happened to Grebstad? I'll tell you what, Corey, we'll have to go and have a look at that because Grebstad, oh no, I've called it early. Oh, sorry everyone, I've called it a lap early. Thanks for...
Oh, look out, Grebstad has just locked up going into turn 1.
Yeah, he has. He's run wide there, and Clark has let him come back on, although he'll have a slowdown to manage out of that. I tell you what, Gorkrotcher now back in front. Oh, what, you let me go there, Corey. In my own world, mate. Thanks for not correcting me.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, mate, but I was getting enthused in that action there. Gorkrotcher with an official 2:02.611 lap time on that last lap. This battle is on for the win. It's going to be a very close finish indeed here, Alex. I think it'll be down to the line.
Absolutely, coming through the final chicane now at Variante Alta. Big bit of that first curb, not so much of the second curb, using all of the exit and more. I'll tell you what, I got a bit excited there, but this is where we get excited, folks. We're on board with Toykala now, on the run down to the final 2 corners at Ravazza, 14 and 15. Oh, he's pulled right up under brakes here. Will that compromise his exit? Because the better exit is what you want here out of turn 15 at Ravazza, and he has compromised too much, runs wide, and that's it. Timmy G, old one nut himself, he's got across the line here for a win in Sunday Night Lights. I think that might be his 2nd win. Oh, he's pulled up stumps pretty late, and he's got it done. Well done to Mr. Gorkrotcher. Behind them, we've got Vascalampi, who's finished ahead of Schultz. Snell now coming over the line to finish 5th. Officially, I went off 1 lap early, but the results are roughly the same. Cat now finishing his race. We've got Beardsley and Grebstad coming into the line. Grebstad looking to try and sneak over, but will he get it done on the line? Oh no, he just misses out. Clark now rounding out the top 10 as the stragglers finish their race here tonight, Corey.
Yes, indeed, and what a race it was, Alex. Action all the way through the entire field, and a little bit of after the finish line shenanigans as well, just to round things up here. A great race by all, well won by Tim, and good job to Sammy J for finishing in P2 there as well.
Yeah, fantastic job for those guys who dominated this race. Just watching a few of the guys finish out. We've got Conde and Antoniadis fighting for P14 and 15 respectively. Oh, I'll tell you what, there's a bit going on there, and I think Conde might have... Oh, there's contact over the line. There was not much quarter given there. But I think Conde hung on there for that result. Collins there from ANZ finishing in P17. Zach Baker going to round out our finishes here tonight. Just so I have 2 minutes off the lead there, but he is just about to cross the line, and we might go through the results. Yeah, I tell you what, I can't grab any luck. I've been stuffing up so much lately, and then, excuse me, went off and had a shocker with the internet connection tonight, and then we've gone off a lap early with the results as well. So let's grab our official results at the end of round 3 here from Imola on Sunday Night Lights. Tim Gorcrotcher from ANZ, representing Top Split Racing Team, out of the booth and into the cockpit tonight to take out a fantastic win from Sammy J. Toykala. They're just the 2/10 behind. That final run through Ravazza really costing him any chance of taking out the win. P3 tonight went to Team of Ascalampi, his Finnish compatriot, I should say. Some 3.8 seconds behind Sebastian Schultz, current season leader coming into this week in P4, consolidating that position most likely. Ben Snell from ANZ representing Team Milo in P5 and rounding out that top 5 there. Now, Enzo Cantor did a pretty good job actually coming through the field here for Thrustmaster Mivano Racing. Finishing P6, down a couple of spots, but certainly showed his quality coming through the field the way he did. Anthony Catt from UK&I finishing in P7 tonight, up 7 positions in this sort of field. That's a great job. James Beardsley, similarly from the US, up 8 positions, probably our biggest mover of the field. Håkon Grebstad representing Team Ovaltine here tonight, about 30 seconds off, up 1 spot, had a bit of adventure that cost him there. And if I get a chance, I'll go back and have a look at it during the post-race portion of the broadcast. P10 tonight, Russell Clark for ANZ and Team Milo here tonight. P11 also goes to Team Milo for Luke Whitten, who had his own little off-track adventures throughout. P12, of course, Sean Teal. His first time in under the bright lights of Sunday Night Lights. He's grabbed points in his first night out. P13, Alberto P. De La Fuente. He has finished all the way down in P13 from Iberia. Sean Caron representing 73 Racing in P14, and also another ANZ club member, Gustavo Conde, just pipping out for Fahim Antoniadis for Thrustmaster Bivano. He certainly didn't give many space on the line, and that's what it means to these people. Even down to 15th, 16th, they're not going to give any space if none's required. Samuel Collins from ANZ down in 17th. Zach Baker finished in 18th, leaving our retirements of Igowitz Ballard and John Scholtz for Team Venom. Corey, that's about how they finished. A 2:02.6 was the fastest lap. Strength of field, a little down on previous weeks, but still the highest so far this week, and so therefore the most points on offer for the drivers who turned up here tonight. Corey.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Alex. And what a race it was. Great recovery drives there from a few of those drivers, especially Enzo making it all the way back onto P6. It's incredible with the quality of field that we had today that he was able to make his way back up that far in the field. Um, Absolutely incredible racing all the way through. So much three-wide action and two-wide action every lap. This is just incredible. So this is why I love racing in the Skippies so much myself.
Yeah, mate, there was plenty going on, which was great to see. We've got a couple of guys in the booth that we might, in the green room, I should say, that we might bring up in finishing order. We'll hop on board with Mr. Snell here. Chuck his name up on the screen and bring him up for a chat. Mr. Ben Snell, top, at least Team Milo driver here tonight. I don't think there were any spins involved either, mate. P5, top 5 finish. That's a pretty good way to round out the week here at Imola.
Yeah, definitely can't complain. I've had better pace this week, but I was a little bit nervous with the car tonight, just trying to keep it straight, and unfortunately didn't quite have the speed, but I'm definitely happy with a P5.
Yeah, look, once again, strongest strength of field of the week. Not the height that we've been coming to expect, I have to admit. But look, there's a patch coming, as a couple of people in chat have said, so hopefully that'll rectify things a little bit. But certainly, as far as the season overall goes, plenty of points on offer. But and you guys making the most of it here, a good strong P5, mate. Is that? I don't think that's your best result this season, but oh look, I've just got images of you almost losing it. I tell you what, lap 1, cold tyres. You've turned into the spin and managed to hang on to it. That's almost counterintuitive in this car these days.
Yeah, it's crazy. I double downshifted, went from third straight to first, and it stepped the rear out. And luckily, because I was still turning in, I didn't think to snap the wheel back. So thankfully, I didn't die. But yeah, it's just really weird still. And obviously, that kind of upset me for the whole race. So I was just plodding along, trying not to die, basically.
Yeah, well, that's right, mate. Well, you did well because that dropped you down quite a number of positions, and yet you're able to claw back to fifth. So, congratulations on that, mate. Thank you for coming out once again to support the series on behalf of VDR Team Milo. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
As always, thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. And thanks to all these European guys coming out on a Sunday now, making these really intense races to race and making me have to actually work harder.
Nice. You say thanks for the broadcast, but we had some internet issues tonight, so hold back too early because she might be a bit choppy there. But anyway, we'll hopefully have them rectified in the coming weeks, which is where we'll see you again, mate.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, guys.
There you go, Corey. That was Team Milo's own Ben Snell, who I tell you what, we just caught vision of him losing it the rear end through Tosa there on lap one. I know he does some drift driving in real life, and it certainly put those skills into action there as we just see the two boys in front of him lose it through the final chicane on lap one as well. That certainly shows he's handy in these cars as well, Corey.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And with having that drifting experience behind him, it definitely goes to show that he can control a car in a fairly out of control situation. And he alluded that he was still turning into the corner, which helped him to catch that slide that he was going through when he double downshifted there. And that's absolutely crazy because, as you said, it's very counterintuitive. Um, you know, as a driver of a car, you want to turn into the slide, but with the way that the tile model is at the moment, that's not the way you're going to get yourself out of there.
No, that's right. Unfortunately, the physics of the car are a little bit out of whack at the moment, but great to see the actual the owner of iRacing in the Skippy forum at the moment, giving people reassurances that they're on top of it, and they will have a patch out either Tuesday. I'm supposed to be on Monday nights, mate, in a couple of days, or the following week, which will hopefully have the world spinning back on its axis accordingly in the Skippy world at least. But we have Mr. Gorkrotcher sitting down there, our race victor. Timmy G, I don't know if my replay is showing correctly, but it's showing you without a nose on your car. Did you pick up damage early on?
Nah, nothing at all. It was ultra clean. So maybe a bit of internet something going on there. I had a 0x with Sammy on lap one, just coming out of the final chicane, and that might have been it, because I just don't know how we didn't ride each other off when he got on the gas pretty early out of the chicane, and it was really, really close. But it worked out pretty well in the end. I came across the line in my session with no damage at all, which is how it felt on track.
Yeah, I can tell it must have been internet issues, mate, because I've had plenty of them. The streams were chugging along like you wouldn't believe. So not one of our better quality outcomes, but certainly for yourself, it was. I called it a lap early. For some reason, I thought you'd dudded yourself. Did you pick up a slowdown on those late closing stages there, Tim?
No. I just had a little bit of a lead over Sammy, I think, on maybe lap 10 or something like that. And I was weaving a bit on the front straight, thinking I had 0.9 and I can probably get away. And I outbraked myself a tiny bit, only maybe a meter, and that just pushed me wide of the apex for the left-hander and a tiny bit wide for the right-hander, and I just got a wheel on the dirt and I thought I could catch it, but I had to fourth pedal it, regretfully. And Sammy got by, and that was 1.5 seconds gone. So I had to work hard, just to bridge that gap a little bit and get within draft range. But it all worked out pretty well in the end, thankfully. And Sammy's brilliant to race against. So thanks, Sammy. I appreciate your. The last lap was pretty close, and we gave each other enough room without contact. And it was terrific, really enjoyable. Good to be back, of course.
Yeah, mate, sounds like the feeling was mutual, judging by Sammy's words in chat. Enjoyed the race a lot himself by the looks of it. So, look, congratulations on the win, mate. Great that Corey could lend a hand tonight and get you back out on the track. for what is a fantastic result. So thank you for your support of the series ongoing, on track and off, mate. And anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Oh, it wouldn't be right if I didn't thank the Top Split for hosting the broadcast. But no, obviously a reasonable soft tonight. Thanks to everyone for showing up. And I think we got Road America next week, which is going to be pretty interesting. I haven't raced there before in a Skippy, and of course look forward to it.
Absolutely. All right, thanks, Tim, and we look forward to seeing you there, and hopefully the good results will continue.
Thanks, gentlemen. All the best.
There you go, Corey. That's what you get when you hop in the booth, mate. You give someone an opportunity to go out and win the big one.
Yeah, exactly. And that recovery drive that he had for those last couple of laps when he did have to fourth pedal it there, I'm surprised he didn't catch a slowdown, but it was great to see that fight back that he had and to come out of it with the fastest lap of the race as well with that 2:02.611. It was absolutely magical to watch. It was a great drive by Tim, and he should be well chuffed with himself with the result.
Yeah, couldn't agree more there, Corey. I was very impressed with the way he was able to pull that gap back. 1.3, and I thought he was gone. So, yeah, well done to Tim. Great drive tonight once again. Now, I'm just trying to pick our order here. I think next so, and I know the crowd's been from Mr. Cantor. Welcome to the Top Split TV commentary booth. Thrustmaster Mivano's own Enzo Cantor at his home track. Race didn't go quite to plan, but it was a great fight back, Enzo. How was the racing for you?
Hi guys, not a lucky day, surely for Mivano guys today. I was a little bit frustrated after the last week, as you can remember, and I was thinking about leaving the series, but I have to say thanks to one of my best Australian fan that said to me that. He decided that I will continue the series. So I was confident that I could do some good results, and I wanted to not to do a gift to him and other fans that I have. I didn't know to have them, but I have fans, so I came back in the series here at Imola without too much practice because it was very difficult for me this week because of work. But finally, I found my pace thanks to Team Grau Cogre too, because he told me some tips to be faster. But the problem is that with this tire model, I still not able to manage the car in the first lap, because I really don't know what is the tire limit in the first lap, no, with the cold tires. So it was the second race in a row this evening for me. In the first one, in the same corner, in the first or in the second lap, I was completely over the curb, over the black and yellow object inside the curb, and I spun away. So in the next race, so the last one in the Sunday light, I knew that I had not to be so inside the corner. I was a little more outside, but I touched the curb again, very light, but it was enough to spin again. So that was the only thing I can say about the race, because after that I lost all the possibilities, all the chance to win the race. My pace was a little bit slower than team one. I tried not the lowest pressure, but one click more than the lowest pressure, because the car was too much wobbling in the fast corners with the lowest pressure. And I was trying to catch Ben in the last lap. I'm sure he was feeling that I could be able to catch him, but I was pushing too hard, and I did too much mistakes. I almost lost the car many times. I slid many times without losing the car. I don't know how I did it. So I'm happy for this position because I didn't lost I rating. So let's see a good thing. No I rating lost, and without that mistake, I could be able to fight with for the victory with the fastest. So I'm happy, and congratulations again to the podium.
Yeah, excellent, Enzo. It certainly sounded like a bit of an adventure out there for you here tonight. But yeah, hopefully, Iris, as we've said a couple of times tonight, iRacing have announced they're going to patch the tyres, so hopefully that'll bring a bit of equilibrium back to the series, and some of the guys that have been holding off will join us once again, along with your good self, mate. So thank you once again for continuing to support the series. I'm glad the pep talk worked during the week, and hopefully we can see you in the coming weeks. Before we let you go, Enzo, is there anyone like to give a shout out to?
Yes, surely I will not be here the next week because I will be out for work, but I will come back the next 2 weeks. And this time I have to say thanks, as always, to my team, Transmaster Mivano, my team manager Fabio Mantellini, my teammate Faim Antoniades, and all my supporters, in particular Shiro, that really support me, even also when I am a little bit frustrated and I'm thinking about leaving the series. So thanks a lot to them, and see you soon in the next 2 weeks.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Enzo. And again, we'll hopefully see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, surely.
There you go, Corey. iRacing bridging gaps across the world there, mate. The local support for Enzo, getting him out on his local track. Great to see him once again.
Yeah, for sure, Alex. Enzo is one of the great characters of these top split strength of field races that we put on, and I'm normally in the green room there, in there with him, having conversations all the time, listening to what he has to say, and he's a very honest man, and it's great to see him week in week out come in and mix it up with our Aussies, and he's probably put on one of the best performances for a recovery drive that I've seen in this race today. And he almost got Snelly. A couple more laps, he probably would have been there. But it was great to see him come back up and get P6.
Yeah, he got a 2:03.3, so certainly up there with some of the quickest guys, as you said, in the race. So great drive from Mr. Cantor. Our final person in the green room here today is Mr. Hawken Rebstad. Hawken, look, I don't know what happened there. I was going to see if I could jump back to catch what happened there at the end, mate. But you look like you were going on for a good one there, and it all come unravelled at the last little bit.
Yeah, I got unstuck in the end, but it all started early on with I don't know what Fiend was doing, but apparently it was serving a slowdown on exit of the chicane, which made me just accelerate right into him.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I wondered if he got unsettled through the chicane there, that checked him up. But it certainly looked like, and I've had that experience myself here this week. You had nowhere to go. So yeah, that's challenging there, mate. Sorry to hear that, but you look like you were in the midst of a good battle pack there for most of the race. After that,
Yeah, thankfully I didn't get too much damage and was able to keep on and had somewhat pace, although probably a little bit compromised from damage, and was able to work my way up to seventh. But then it all came unstuck in the last two laps.
yeah, mate. Sorry to see that happen, but hopefully it'll be onwards and upwards from here on out. So, Hawken, thanks for joining us once again, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before I let you go?
Just you guys, mate. Thanks for doing this every single week.
Awesome. Thanks, Hawken, and we look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks.
I'll be there. Thanks, guys.
There you go, Corey. That wraps up our interviews for tonight. And I'm going to cut it pretty short, to be honest, because of the internet issues. I probably should have done so, kept it a bit shorter, actually, in hindsight. But that's the way she goes. First experiences in the booth, mate. What's your takeaways?
Well, there's a lot to take away, especially pronunciation of some of these names. As people have probably picked up, I'm not very literate when it comes to pronouncing some of these longer foreign names. So it's good to see these guys mixing it up. Some of the FNRC regulars that we usually race with on the Friday and Saturday nights doing well. And, Tim, absolutely amazing drive to get that win, especially with that late mistake. Imola has definitely turned up the heat, and I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the season with how things will unfold, especially with this patch coming out for the tyres soon. It's definitely going to make things a bit more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully, like I said, the planet will start, at least the Skippy planet will start spinning on its axis again, and we can all get back onto the good racing. I've got to tell you, I've enjoyed the the racing nonetheless, because this is a category where you can go shoulder to shoulder with the right kind of people more often than not. So, well worth the price of admission alone. But we might wind it up there, folks. I'll just pop this one up here. If you are interested in joining us, of course, each and every Sunday night we will be back here, hopefully with a bit better internet connection. I did do some checks before. I can't explain why it's bodgy tonight, but we'll work on it for next week. Of course, that's where we are on YouTube. Join us in the Discord community where we do our post-race interviews, of course, but also the growing community there of top split racers, Skippy drivers, and just iRacing community in general. The Top Split podcast is available on thetopsplit.com. Latest episode was out late last week. AJ and I just did a splash and dash there covering some of the current issues and views of iRacing. The episode before that, of course, was with Australia's own Marcus Ambrose. So well worth going checking out the back catalogue there at thetopsplit.com. We are also at the Top Split on Facebook. Check us out there, engage with us there, let us know what you like and what you'd like to see on the broadcast as we go forward. We are also on Twitch. We've got myself, Top Split TV, doing a couple of nights a week. AJ77 is where you'll find the Doctor, doing similarly the Golden Stig, although he's a bit shy on camera these days. Haven't seen him for a while. And of course, Corey Steinhauser, our most recent addition to the team, is also a regular streamer. Tell everyone where they can find you, Corey.
You guys can find me at twitch.tv/Corey Has No Life 13. I will put out a mature content warning. I may keep it clean here in the broadcast booth, but when we're back into my Discord, into my stream, the gloves are off when it comes to the language barrier.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for Corey there, mate. What's the channel?
We already covered the channel.
Did we? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Corey Has No Life 13.
Sorry, mate. I'm too caught up in my internet ways. Sorry. All right, folks. That'll about do us for now. I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and of course, joining me here tonight is Corey Steinhauser. We'll be back, hopefully bigger and better next week. And until then, I will say ciao for now.